Hiya folks, so today I'm going to introduce another new car to the 164 collective. But before that, you'll notice these two cars spinning around. If you go through my video history, you'll find that I think the McLaren F1 is the greatest production road car ever made. Granted, that's a racing version made by Kyosho. But it was inspiration for me 20 years ago to design my own race vehicle, which is this orange thing, which I call the STR, the Short Track Racer. So if you want to search those things, you can find the videos on these particular models. But if you look at the photographs in behind, this is called the Light Car Company Rocket. So Gordon Murray and Chris Kraft founded the Light Car Company back in 1991. It was called the Rocket. And this thing only weighed 850 pounds. So it weighed less than a Lotus 7 or a Caterham 7. And you could actually sit tandem. Two people could actually sit in this vehicle, one behind the driver. But in these photographs, the actual thing is the second seat is covered up with this cowling, so so you can't really see the second seat. But Jay Leno has a great video on this car, so you want to look at Jay Leno's garage and look up the Rocket video. It's pretty sweet. This thing is powered by a 1-liter Yamaha motorcycle engine, making up to 165 horsepower in the back, which doesn't sound like much until you realize it weighs 850 pounds. Anyways, only 55 of these were made, so quite a rare vehicle, the Rocket. And I know that in 1/43rd scale, this model does exist, but I haven't seen it in 1/64 scale. And I just love, what Gordon Murray does. I believe in vehicles that are light, so they're nimble, they're less taxing on their components and the roads. And it just seemed like they would be real go-karts. So today's new introduction, the Light Car Company Rocket. Okay, so let's take a look at the photographs here and see if I did a decent job here. It's a very small car compared to the other two. Okay, so yeah, I guess it looks relatively similar, right? I'll try to focus on the model better. I can't. That's as good as it's gonna get. Okay, what about the rear view? This is a resin model. I printed it on my resin printer, which means I had to put a bunch of supports on it and sand those down. Okay, here's the rear view. Alright, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. There is one area where I had no other choice but to make a sacrifice. It's in the wheels. So I actually designed the wheels to be exact, but the problem is the wheels and the tires are the same piece. I couldn't make them two separate pieces because the rim of the wheel is too thin to print reliably. So in fact, let's get into the more details of this vehicle here. So if I printed the wheels as a separate piece, it just wouldn't happen. The rim is too narrow. So I had to paint basically the edge of the wheel black like the tire, because I can't paint a perfect circle with a brush. If I had a Tampo printing machine, it'd be a different story. But so that's the one sacrifice. I guess the lip of this wheel is actually black, and then the tire is black, of course, and then the fender is the same piece of plastic again, and it's all just the same black. I guess if I gloss coated the fender, it'd be a little bit better, right? It'd look like carbon fiber. But it took a long time for me to paint this thing. Just to let you guys know, if you're really interested, I put all my models up on Shapeways.com. If you just do an internet search for TYD Shapeways, you'll find my store. There's a bunch of 1/64 scale stuff, and even other scales like 1/400th is what I primarily designed for. Okay, well anyways, and also one other thing is, on Shapeways, you have to paint everything yourself. Everything printed on that website, you're just buying the raw print itself. But you have to, I would suggest you invest in an airbrush. You can buy like a $30 nail polish airbrush thing, and then get some water-based paints. I use Vallejo paints because you can cut them with water instead of alcohol, so it's better for your health, and it dries pretty fast. But the wheels are actually a separate piece, so it's a little easier for you to paint the suspension and stuff like that, and the lights. And then you have to use some Hot Wheels axles or 0.8 millimeter locator pins to basically mate the wheel assembly to the suspension assembly. If you see on the website, you'll see a rendering of the print you're going to get. Okay, but that website is not cheap. Everything in the words 3D printing in 1/64 scale, you can't add the word cheap. It's just the technology is too expensive still. So this is only for people that really love this car like me. Okay, so enough chitter chatter about that stuff. So yeah, the wheels here, they're pretty accurate. The brake system is back there, but it's the same piece of plastic as this wheel. So, but it doesn't bother me because when I spray painted the whole wheel silver, it just made the rotors and the calipers silver, which they seem to be on the real car. They're like just raw metal or something. Yeah, I used a little silver paint and then orange paint on top of it for this side marker. Same with the fronts and the rears. I just painted silver and then added a little orange Sharpie on the front, orange and red Sharpie on the back over the silver to help it look more like a reflector. Some silver paint in the little motorcycle muffler. And I don't really understand what these things are on the Rocket, but they're in the photographs. They have these two metal pipes running from the front suspension and then vanishing into the body. But it's on both sides. So I don't know if that's like, it's such a thick tube. I thought maybe it would be like a brake reservoir line, but it's such a thick tube. I don't know what it is. It's a strange mystery. But anyways, I have it here. I put flat spots on the bottom of the tires because in reality, tires are not round. Vehicles have weight to them and rubber is compressible. So that's actually more realistic to have a tire with a flat spot on it. Because look at any vehicle, just look outside. There's a flat spot on the bottom of all your cars and trucks and stuff like that. So that's why I do that. This thing isn't going to roll anyways. The vehicle's too small to have a rolling feature. Anyways, let's see, I have a little logo there. The headlights, they're in the down position, so they're kind of hidden away behind the body a little bit, like the real car. This is recessed here, this vent. I painted this black. There are tiny little studs here, but I was too lazy to paint them. The 5 screws that hold the windscreen on. The mirrors are part of the same, printing, and I put a little silver paint in there, a little silver in the steering wheel, and black there, black on the seat and the harness there. Okay, and then yeah, put a little black paint in there, those vents, as well as these vents here and the top and bottom there. So, and then yeah, a little silver on this gas cap. I think that's everything. Yeah, okay. So another note, yeah, see, it's my cheap resin printer, it has all these plastic supports, so I have to clip them off and then sand this thing down, and it still looks pretty bad. And then the resolution of my Frozen Sonic 4K, it's only 30 microns, so you can see these steps in this printing. But on that Shapeways website, they have these really expensive printers that print with the lasers instead of light. Mine's like a light. It's like a TV projector, and it projects an image and it hardens the plastic. But an SLA printer has 2 lasers meeting at a certain point, and so it's a much more accurate, smoother finish from Shapeways. And they don't have plastic supports. They support their acrylic with wax. So if you buy anything from Shapeways, at least from my shop, the smooth plastics, they're printed on a wax base, so you have to clean off the wax with Simple Green and a toothbrush, and maybe I use a jewelry cleaner to get that wax off. But Simple Green is pretty safe for your health. And then once the wax is gone, you just spray it with an airbrush, and it's going to end up looking better than this one because I used my my resin printer, not an SLA printer. So, okay, sorry I'm talking about all this stuff. I keep getting questions on my videos with the wheel mods and all that stuff. And so hopefully I can avoid all these questions and comments by talking about this for the first time here in this video. Okay, well anyways, I'm pretty happy with the result here. It's, to my knowledge, the only 1/64 scale LCC Rocket. Let's take a look how big it is though compared to, the other cars here. So McLaren F1, granted it's a 3-seater, and then my thing is pretty much based off the general dimensions of an F1. But yeah, you can clearly see how narrow it is, how small it is. if we go to the top view, how short it is, it's a small car, and that's why, again, it weighs 850 pounds. Whereas, you know, most vehicles are more than twice that weight in many instances. So, okay. Anyways, I guess my trifecta of Gordon Murray inspired vehicles is finished. I had no intention to originally make this, but after doing this video, I realized these two cars inspired me to design this car, and so it just seemed kind of silly to have my design without half of the inspiration. So I took the time to make that Rocket, and yeah, I gotta warn you guys, it's not easy to design a car in a CAD system. It took me quite a while, several days of work, and then it took quite a while for me to paint this thing. You gotta have a really steady hand, or pay some professional model maker to paint it for you. Alright guys, well, I appreciate you guys watching again, and keep on collecting. Thanks.